Hi, Tammy. Hope you're well.
Hi, Sid. I'm great, thanks. How you doing?
Much better. Yeah, you saw me at my worst, and yeah, that's why our chat was so short. So sorry about that.
No, not at all. Your health comes first.
Yeah, that's true. Especially on an interesting topic today, the power of forgiveness. And I was happy when you were really cool with the topic. So to get the ball rolling with you, Tammy, many people believe forgiveness means excusing someone's actions. What does true forgiveness actually mean? And what are the biggest misconceptions about it?
So, true forgiveness to me means acknowledging someone hurt you while
Hmm.
choosing to let go of the resentment and the desire for revenge. Like when I wrote my first book, Sayors, I did a lot of research and research about broken relationships, holding on to resentment and so forth. And I found that women especially, they hold so much of resentment and they want that revenge, and they do some mind-numbing psychotic things,
That's
to
true.
get back that revenge. So it doesn't mean excusing somebody's actions, or forgetting what happened, but it's rebuilding the trust and the relationship within yourself, because so often during hurt, during trauma, we forget our true identity of who we are. And we let go of so much, we let go of those barriers, and we sort of naked to the world of who that vulnerable self is. So in many philosophical and religious traditions, forgiveness is seen as releasing the grip of bitterness that has on one's life. And while psychology is often understood as replacing and enduring resentment with more of a, I would say, like a balanced perspective more. So neither views require denying the reality of the offense, but simple ways to sort of distinguish these ideas. Excusing, I would say, is excusing what what wasn't really wrong, I would say. And then forgiving, it wasn't wrong, or it was wrong, but I choose not to let the wrong define me or define my future or break me down. So you acknowledging that the person or the event was wrong, or the act, I would say, was wrong, and you're not allowing it to tarnish you. And then reconciling, I would say, and rebuilding a relationship. So things that I did, you don't have to physically forgive, you don't have to, or I would say in person, face to face, but on a spiritual level, on a mental level, I did a lot of meditation, and where you bring that person into your mind's eye, you forgive them, you forgive the situation. It's like you in a job, basically. You are a manager and you've got to fire 10 people. You wouldn't fire those people if you're not in that job. It's your job and you got to fulfill that role. So you need to divorce the two, the title or the label attached to that, and not let it resonate with your innate feelings. And I would also say trusting and believe that this person has, maybe like in a work situation, if you've been let down or something, give the person a second chance. Sometimes people, you need to understand where people are coming from, understand their situations. So these separate choices that we make along the way without reconciling, or reconcile without fully trusting, um, it's almost allowing you to let go of the hatred. So that is something I would say is, look at it from a third party point of view, or like a third eye. I would say look at the situation and see, does it really need me to react? Does it really need me, my effort? And sometimes, the just being quiet and not responding is the best thing that you can do.
That's true. Yeah, I look at this comment question here from Richard, and I think it's kind of touching upon what you said. It's a two-part here. Hi, Tammy. Forgiveness and forgetting are, oh, I don't know, W different things. Okay, forgiveness works in one's favor as a self-healing, whilst one chooses to forget or not is entirely up to them. Forgetting is also good because, okay, and I'll get to the second part. Oh, because you don't want to relive those moments, and as they say, don't visit your past, let go. Meditation can help in both situations, I guess.
Yes, Resh, that is so true. Thanks for the question, or thanks for the comment, rather.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
forgiveness, as I said, you don't have to forgive at a physical level or face to face level, but forgiveness is so important. The Many people struggle to forgive, and they hold on to that bitterness and resentment, which actually is so negative for you. It shows up as dis-ease in the body. It shows up as pains. It shows up as a myriad of
Hmm.
things. And yesterday, actually, I was counseling somebody who'd often who's got a lot of pain and swelling, bloatedness in the sacral chakra area. And the sacral chakra area holds the emotions, holds the trauma, holds all that negativity in them. This is why, especially with women, you'd often find that they have that boop, or the fupa as they call it. Even with the men, sometimes men don't release that. Go and punch a bag at a gym, go and release that adrenaline, get it out in some way. If you don't release that, you're carrying that in that area. The lady that I counseled yesterday, she had severe stomach cramps, and she says, I just don't know what to do anymore. She's been taking something with a B. She's been taking some pain meds to relieve the pain in the tummy area. She's been changing her diet. Nothing's been helping. She's even been exercising. And so I did a forgiveness meditation for her, and only to find out that she was holding a lot of resentment. She had two major incidents that happened to her. One, her dad passed away, and the last 2 weeks of her dad passing, there was a huge argument between the two of them. So she's carrying the guilt and the resentment from that. And then she went through 4 months prior, she went through a divorce. And it was like, out of the blue, that the husband just laid this on her, and she went through a divorce. Okay, the divorce started, the proceedings started a year before, but the actual divorce happened 4 months prior. So she was holding on to that guilt and that resentment. And also, it's like you're feeling like you're not worthy. You start hating yourself. So, Rish, when we have this introspection of who am I, you are not this body, you are the soul, you are the energy. It's I gave somebody the example this morning, and I thought it was such a nice example of who are you. So I would say it's you are actually a, how would you describe yourself? You are an energy having a human experience. Your soul is an energy having a human experience. To explain that is the energy or the soul, and the body is the glove. So the soul is the hand that goes into the glove and actually makes the glove operate, or actually gives the glove life. So without the soul, the body can't operate. So we need to understand that whatever it is we're going through, be it a negative experience, be it a positive experience, every experience is teaching us a lesson, and we're here to learn and grow and develop from those lessons.
But how did you know your client needed that forgiveness therapy? Is it because she asked you for it, or did you just pick it up? when you were
So
answering it.
you know my intuitive side. So I picked this
Oh
up,
yeah.
and in fact, I actually did two of them in this week. And she, when she told me she's not, the meds are not helping, the diet is not helping, the exercise is not helping. Those are the three
Mm,
major things that you would normally do when you have a pain in that area. And if those things are not happening, then it's at a different level. So when you, especially when your chakras are imbalanced, if you have to
mm,
balance your chakras and move into a different, even tapping, tapping away pain, tapping, if you work with switch numbers, switch codes, those things actually help you at a deeper level, at a spiritual level. And she actually said to me, wow, Tams, I've had this pain for the past 8 days and it's
mhm,
miraculously gone. Look, the meditation was quite a lengthy meditation. It was
mm.
like 42 minutes long,
Wow.
but yeah, she needed it. And something that I'm currently practicing, and I'm very keen on this idea, is the Kundalini meditation. So the Kundalini, if you had to research about the Kundalini, it's absolutely amazing. That is our life source. And I take it from the base chakra, the root chakra, and you go up through to the crown. And when you open up the Kundalini, and you actually feel like you're floating, you feel at such an amazing level. But people, when they do the Kundalini meditation, you have to close it off, because when your Kundalini is open, it's like a
Mhm,
rose, like a flower basically in full blossom. When would you pick a flower? When it is in full blossom. So you're
mm.
very susceptible to the negative energies. You have to close it down. But I do it on a daily basis. I do the Kundalini awakening and then I close it down. And you would find that, like in Hindu cultures, even in a lot of cultures where they go into a trance to basically communicate at a different level, you don't even have to do that, because on your normal level, you sort of close your eyes, or look at a 90-degree angle, and you would find that you actually can communicate, you can delve into your psyche, your subconscious, and you can pick up things without going into a trance, without using substances. These things actually help you. Meditation is so amazing. The One of the teachers, I love a glass of red wine, and but I don't like the headache afterwards. So
Mm.
a lot of people said, no, get the tannin free wine and so forth. But the sort of mellowness that the wine gives to you, the meditation does that same sort of, that calm, that amazing feeling. It's like just that floating feeling. So that's what I like. And there's a ways and means to get around around the hustle, the bustle, the trauma, and everything that is bombarding you in your day to day life. I hope that helps,
Awesome.
Rish.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Awesome. Why do so many people struggle to forgive even when holding on to hurt is affecting their own happiness and well-being?
I would say many people struggle to forgive because the hurt they experience
Mm,
um, leaves a deep emotional wound. And forgiveness may feel like excusing the person's actions, minimizing the pain, or giving up justice. But fear of being hurt again, lingering anger, and difficulty of rebuilding trust can also make forgiveness quite challenging. So, in many cases, people need time to process their emotions, and before I would say it's you're ready to let go of that resentment. A lot of the time, people play that movie, the movie screen, in their mind, and go through it
mm,
over and over and over. While forgiveness can improve well-being, it is also often a gradual process, rather than like a single decision, like a switch to say, okay. You do get people that are very strong. They say the willpower is so strong,
mm,
But then I would say, if you've got a developed intellect and you can say, yes, I'm putting this to bed and not dealing with it, you can do it. So there's also techniques in dealing with certain situations, forgiving people. And even if you research about it, there's a lot of celebrities that do certain tips and tricks and, ways to deal with emotional trauma, to deal with negativity and hurt and pain at a deep set emotional level. And I would say, when it's raw, when it's there, when it's very, very difficult to actually deal with it. But that is the time to deal with it, put it to bed, transmute and transcend, and get on with your life.
Would you say would it come down to someone having a thick skin when they need to, or is it too simplistic?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I was saying, would you say that maybe one should have a thick skin at certain situations, or was that putting it too simplistic?
No, no. You each situation, obviously, and each person's experience is different. So you can either,
Mm,
there's so much of, nobody's living in a cocoon. There's so much of self-help things that if you don't want to go and see a counselor, if you don't want to go and do a course or whatever it is, you can do stuff on the internet. Help yourself. I know of people. The first thing they do is they're very weak. Actually, it's a wrong thing to say that they're very weak, because if
mm,
I mean, you tried to commit suicide or end your life earlier, it takes a lot of guts. You've got to be so strong-minded to, but that's mind-led, not intellect-led. You've got to be
mm,
so strong-minded to actually go with that process. A simple practice: hold your, block your nose, hold your breath, and I always, when I speak to people that want to go with that, want to shorten their lives, I said, hold your breath. You can't go through with it. Why do things like that? Yes, I would say, deal with it immediately, focus on it, and the quicker you deal with it and put it behind you, the quicker you can move on.
true. Is it possible to forgive someone without reconnecting or allowing them back into your life? Where should healthy boundaries fit into forgiveness?
Most definitely, you can. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same. You can forgive somebody by letting go of the resentment without allowing them back into your life. Healthy boundaries are very, very important. And it's a very important part of the forgiveness process, because they protect your emotional and physical well-being. Forgiving, I would say, doesn't require restoring trust or continuing the relationship. It simply means choosing not to let the hurt control you or
Mm,
control your life, while still making wise decisions about who accesses your space, who accesses um, you as a person. So you can set clear, healthy boundaries. I often say, especially in a work environment, where you can't, like, it's not like a love relationship where you like cut it off and say wham bam, thank you ma'am, cheers. No, but in a work situation, you tend to go forward with caution, and you tend to read people a little bit differently and understand where people are coming from, what makes them tick, what made them behave in a certain way. So setting healthy, clear boundaries, you can overcome this.
how important is self-forgiveness, and why do so many people find it harder to forgive themselves than to forgive others?
So self-forgiveness is essential for healing, definitely. Healing, personal growth, and moving forward after mistakes, after traumas. And we're human, Sometimes I say, don't be too hard on yourself. You be human at the end of the day. Many people find it harder to forgive themselves because they carry that guilt with them, the shame, the regret, and they hold themselves to, like, like higher standards. And like we mentioned in one of our previous podcasts about social media and the pressure that it puts on people, people living up to this false identities. It really puts a lot of pressure on people. So, in reality, healthy self forgiveness involves acknowledging the mistake, making amends where possible, um, learning from the experience, and choosing to move forward with greater compassion and accountability.
Or is it that people are taking themselves too seriously? That's why they are like burdening themselves too much.
Yes, definitely. The I actually read. I follow a blog on one of
Mhm.
the social media sites, and this lady from a Islamic household, she actually said that she's living with a narcissistic mother, who goes through her phone, who goes through her bank account. She's 28 years old, and she's living such a like a horrible life. So it's up to you to decide, where to draw the boundaries. The She has got the, the teachings or the morals or the values that was instilled within her, that you can't go against your parents, you shouldn't go against your mother. So this is holding her back from moving out on her own, from getting a boyfriend, that she's still waiting for the arranged marriage of the mother to introduce her to somebody. And it she did or she was introduced to somebody previously, but it didn't work out. So she is so afraid of the belief system, that she's afraid to actually break out from this, and she doesn't know any better. So you do get a lot of stories, a lot of situations like that, where people, you don't know if you don't know.
True. What practical steps can someone take to begin healing from deep betrayal, disappointment, or emotional pain without forgetting the lessons they've learned?
Healing from deep betrayal or emotional pain begins by acknowledging your feelings instead of suppressing them. Give yourself time to process the hurt, reflect on what had happened, and accept that healing is not a one size fits all. It's a journey that you've got to transition through. Practice forgiveness when you're ready, not to excuse the wrongdoing, but to free yourself from that resentment. Set yourself healthy boundaries, learn from the experience, seek support from trusted people or a counselor if needed. You get spiritual heads, you get counselors, you get life coaches, and seek help from these people. Sometimes we are so clouded with the resentment, or so clouded with our selfishness or our conceitedness, that we don't see ourselves as being wrong. And this is typical when it comes to a narcissistic person. They don't see themselves as wrong. Everybody else is wrong but them. So you need to basically get the external help, get the third party involved to restore your peace and your well-being. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the lesson. It
Mhm.
means carrying the wisdom forward without carrying the pain.
True. Lastly, if someone listening today is carrying resentment or anger that has weighed them down for years, what would your first piece of advice to help them begin the journey towards forgiveness and emotional freedom?
Firstly, I would say to them, carrying resentment is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So let it go. My first piece of advice would be to take an honest look at the pain you're carrying. Acknowledge how
Hmm.
it's affecting your life. Forgiveness doesn't have to happen overnight. It's a process, but healing begins when you decide that your past no longer controls your future. Start with small baby steps. Forgiveness is not about what the other person deserves, or revenge, or plotting a plan to get back to this person. No, it's about forgiving yourself and giving yourself the freedom to live with greater peace and hope and emotional well-being.
So I guess it's down to the person and having, I don't know if saying self-respect is putting it too simplistically, but I guess it's part of it.
Yes, it's self respect, it's having the confidence in yourself and appreciating who you are. Like I always say, be like a chameleon, adapt to your surroundings, but do not change your inner core of who
Mm,
you are. And like, if I had to give you an example, like as I told you when I was doing the research for my book, the one lady saw her partner with another lady, and they were busy. She was actually the fiance already, and he
mhm,
saw the partner in a restaurant, and somebody said, "Oh, your fiance is with the lady at a restaurant." But meanwhile, he was preparing. This lady was an event coordinator. Actually before he proposed. She was preparing a whole um, proposal thing event for the guy to take the lady on a hot air balloon ride, and do something on the ground with "marry me" and stuff. And this lady took a pickaxe and put it through the middle of his brand new BMW. Now, doing something so psychotic like that, not realizing or not understanding who this person is, why they're meeting together, or getting the details first before going head first
mm.
into finding out, or into the revenge part of it. She should have done some homework, checked it out for herself, not just go on hearsay. And remember, people as well, you get a lot of jealous people that don't want to see a good relationship go through, and they try a lot of things to actually put a spanner in the works. So do get your MI6 skills up and do your own research before you can make any hasty decisions.
Awesome. So much for your time, Tammy.
You're most welcome. I appreciate it. Love and light to all the listeners and viewers.